So here we've got the Pembroke art supplies that are currently available at Aldi. You can get these for £3.99 each. So Pembroke is the brand that Aldi use for their stationery and art supply sort of thing. We've got a silicone painting mat and the brush cleaning station. Now, many of you might have seen brush cleaning stations available at various hobby shops to clean your paintbrushes and keep your paint nice and clean, paint water nice and clean for when you're going between colours and whatnot, which might be useful. But for £3.99, this seems rather cheap. Let's see what it's all about. So we'll start with the silicone painting mat, and then we'll crack on. So let me just get these unboxed. So here's the silicone mat all folded out. Quite large, so 60 by 40 according to the box, and just for comparison, there's a sigil paint pot. Obviously you've got trays for like water pot or a little bit, and like a mixing mat already in there, brush holders, and something I didn't realise was it's also got a ruler for rough sizing of it. Now, I think the obvious main point of this is to help keep a workspace clean, and these are advertised on the label, where the price label, as children's accessories, art accessories. So obviously, you know, kids are doing their art, they can make as much mess as they like on this. Really easy to clean, and you know, just keep there, so they don't make mess of the kitchen table. Other advantage is obviously anything you put on there is going to be a little bit anti-slip, so might be useful for if you're working on like papers or whatnot, and you just don't want it to move around a bit. But yeah, so you can hang it up with a little hole through there, so you can make it nice and dry. Yeah, for £3.99, I can certainly see myself using this, especially with when I do washes and whatnot, just in case I knock over the wash, because obviously being silicone, water beads, as you can see here, as I did a little quick test. So the water beads, so it means that your wash, you might be able to save the Angrax Earthshade, or whatever it's called nowadays, save most of it by pouring it back into the pot. But yeah, okay, for £3.99, yeah, I can get behind that. Opening up the brush cleaning station, nice and simple. You've got the station itself with the button, cleaning tank, couple of brush holders, and the holder for the bottle, and the tank underneath. I'll just pop it open. Yeah, that's going to take quite a few bits. We've got the water bottle. Doesn't look like it's a standard size tube, so doesn't look like you can switch to a 2-litre bottle of water. Not that I would recommend it, because then it'll be too top heavy and possibly tip over. But obviously you just pop that in there, lining up the thing. Gravity will let the water flow in, and away we go. So let's get this filled up. So something I have just noticed, the bottle itself is threaded, but the cap that goes onto it isn't. So just be aware of that when you're got it in use, because if you just pull on the bottle to move it or whatnot, that the cap sits quite tightly. I literally just grabbed the bottle to fill it up, and it just popped off. So bear that in mind. So here it is, all ready to go. I've filled up the water a little bit. The little spout allows the water to flow correctly, because it keeps the air in. I've loaded up this brush with a bit of corn red, and if you will focus, anyway, and I've worked it into the bristles onto a bit of paper, just to give it an effect of a little bit of a painting session. Excuse me whilst I switch hands. And then I'm going to, let's give it a try. So let's get this all lined up. So brush, 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 brush. And the brush is, if in focus, yeah, relatively clean. Let's test it on this white card. Yeah, okay, so, and then we hit the button, that drains down. Nice bit of refill. Do I need to do another rinse? Because there's still a little bit on there. And yeah, that's nice and clean now. So admittedly that was fairly fresh paint, but then again, if you're doing painting, then you should have fairly fresh paint on it. You're not going to use this to clear and restore your brushes. But yeah, no, I think that's a winner. The next job will be to tidy it up, but that's my quick review of the $3.99 brush cleaning station and silicone painting mat from Aldi, which is they're available now or tomorrow, depending on the shop that you go to. So for any budget painters out there, I think that's not too bad.